Okay, so a quick run through the challenge, the DOM challenge. On my repository, there's a create DOM challenge, and in here there's a main.js file that there is this object which contains DOM elements which need to be rendered as HTML. So there's type article attributes. It has these attributes: ID, blog post, class post, and there are children of this article element, and then further down you can see there's a footer and another section. So this needs to be rendered with a function that looks a little bit like this. And I'm actually going to move away from this now because I want to show a use case for this. So back in my other repository, I've been working on a project, a rough Reddit recreation that's part of my bootcamp course that I'm doing right now with Parsity. So this, I'll give you a quick live demo here. Deploy on GitHub Pages, re-Reddit. So here you can do a post title. Here is a post title. You can add some text to the main part of the article and your name, and this will post a post up the top here, and then you can actually show comments, hide comments. You can add a comment, so maybe I'll add a comment here. Here is a comment. And it posts my comment here. I can hide those comments, show those comments, or delete the post entirely. So for this, you can see there's multiple JavaScript files in here, but mostly I wanted to focus on the build method file here, which has this function here, which is build a fragment. So this is almost a direct copy of, almost a direct copy of the function which takes that object that I showed you before and iterates over that object to create each of those elements in a DOM, and then appends that document fragment, let's call it a document fragment, to the DOM. And it does it through, there's a few different ways that it does it. So I'm just going to go back for a second to the main file to just show you it might give a little better idea to show the context with which I'm using this. So I actually have a template here. This is for the comments. So in here you can actually see there's an input here and another input here. I wanted to be able to, you can see there's multiple different divs. It's actually all enclosed within a form element, and I was playing around. I wanted a way to easily take several DOM elements, like a template of kind of a fragment of a document, and then easily render that as into or append it to the DOM, create those elements and then append them to the DOM. So the way I did this, and there's more, there are other ways to do this, but the way I did it here, just because I was playing around with this function for iterating over an object and creating a DOM from it, the way I actually did that in this situation was use this build fragment function here. So there's actually a couple different parts to it here. There's actually a build element function, which is this section, and you can actually see that build element function is initiated up here, further up here, because this is actually the part the build fragment function. This is the steps for the build fragment function, and the return is actually this document fragment. So this new document fragment is created. That's not a full DOM, it's just a document fragment. You can read more about it on MDM if you want. That's just a fragment to contain all of these elements that this function is about to create. And then this will be appended. I will append this. You can see here the fragment is returned, which then ultimately gets appended to the DOM in another part of my code. But basically, for each object in this array that's passed into the build fragment, we're going to actually call this build element. We're going to call this build element on that object and append those elements that it's created to this document fragment. And so the build element function is really the interesting, I guess, the most interesting part of this, because what it's doing here is pretty similar, I suppose. It's going through this object which it's taking in here, and it's building this element, this variable element, document.create element. It's using the type, so that would be a div or an article or a section or a paragraph element. So it's creating that element. If there are attributes, so class, ID, name, any of those things, so if those attributes exist, then it's going to go through those attributes and actually create them and set the attribute onto that element. Then if that object has children, because if I have a div element, maybe it has a paragraph element within, and maybe that paragraph element then has a span within it. Who knows? So if there are children, it's going to go into this conditional here and do another check. So now if the type of the first child in the array, if the type is a string, so it's just a text node effectively, then it's actually going to create that text node with the content, effectively set the text, because there's just text, there's just a text node, just a text node is a child. If that's not the case, then it's actually going to, because now if it's not just a string, then there are multiple different nodes or children or elements within this children array. So here for each of those elements in the array, in the children array, for each element, we're actually gonna build another element. So we're actually recursively calling build element and constructing that child element and appending that child element to the original element. And so this part of the function could happen multiple times, could be placed onto the call stack, and only resolve once we get to the deepest part of that object, and then they're all going to resolve and eventually be appended all the way back up onto this element, which then ultimately is going to be appended to the document fragment and returned back to whatever other function or other parts of the code are using this build fragment. So I actually used that in a couple places. I already showed the template for comment template, but I also have it for post template as well here. And so you can see div within the children has another div. The children here for this div has a heading 5, heading 6, paragraph, link. So this there's going to be some recursion involved here, where that function is called over and over again, and will only resolve once it gets to the very end, and we've got the children within the children property, and an array here is just a string. So I hope that makes sense. I actually have another article about recursion that I wrote on my blog, which explains it. And I would also recommend CS50, which is Harvard's computer science course. They have some very good lectures and explanations for recursion as well. So thanks for watching. Until next time.